Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CNBC-TV18 Mega CEO Centimeter. I'm Shireen Bhan, and we're coming to you live from the CII National Conference here in Chennai. And of course, this is an engine of growth for India, and we are going to be talking about what next now to drive reforms and to drive growth for India. Before I get my audience and the CEOs present here, this is one of the largest platforms that you will see. Almost 80 CEOs present here under one platform, live right on CNBC-TV18. Before we get the Q&A started, I decided that this was a good opportunity, since we have everybody here in the room, to actually do a dipstick survey and sense and gauge the mood of the nation, to gauge the mood of India Inc. So without further ado, let's get started. My first question, and this will of course result in a show of hands from each one of you, so I would request you to raise your hands depending on which way you decide to vote. With the GST boost coming in, the Chief Economic Advisor suggests that growth will be higher, perhaps closer to the upper end of the band that was presented in the economic survey, which was 6.8%. What is your growth expectation for FY26? Ladies and gentlemen, option 1, 6.5%, option 2, 6.8 to 7%, and option 3, more than 7%. Those of you who think that growth is going to be 6.5%, please raise your hands. Okay, no hands here on 6.5%, between 6.8 and 7%. Okay, quite a few. And those who believe that it is likely to be higher than 7%? Okay, so that's the mood of the House. Just what the Chief Economic Advisor told us, 6.8 to 7%, a little better than the economic survey's estimates. That's the mood as far as industry is concerned. The second question, and again, I'd appreciate a vote, a show of hands here. Do you see inflation easing further, and do you expect the RBI to cut interest rates again? Yes or no? Very, very simple. Those who believe the RBI will cut rates, a show of hands, please. So most people in this room do believe that the Reserve Bank is going to cut rates. And the third question to kick things off here, we've seen what's happening as far as the currency volatility is concerned. Do you expect the rupee to end, option number 1, in the current band, which is between 88 and 89, to be stronger, which is below 88, or weaker above 89? Those who believe that the rupee is likely to trend in the current band, if you could raise your hands, please. Okay, and those who believe that it's expected to be stronger, that is above 88, just about 2 hands in the room, and those who expect it to be weaker, that's below 89. So majority expect the rupee to be in the band between 88 and 89. So let's get straight off. Rajiv Mani, I'll come to you to start with. What was your vote, 6.5 to 6.8 or 6.8 to 7%?
No, 6.8 to 7%.
Okay, and you believe the GST is going to help drive that number?
Yeah, I think GST will definitely help. I think firstly, the first quarter GDP growth was also was a very positive surprise, and from what we are seeing with the monsoons and the uptake because of GST on the consumption, just some of the early sentiment that we are seeing. We haven't seen the numbers as yet. I think 6.8 to 7% should be achievable. We are also seeing, if you look at steel, if you look at cement, the broader trend on the construction sector, which contributes a lot, that's very positive. We just saw yesterday mining sector is starting to show very positive growth. So I would say overall 6.8 to 7% is probably a safe number to go with right now. I think India's bigger challenge is not the real GDP growth. I think it's the nominal GDP growth. Yeah. Because from a tax revenue collection, from a fiscal deficit number, I think that becomes more relevant. I think that's where we'll have to see if inflation continues to stay as benign as it is, and with GST it may come down a little bit, currency stabilizes, then the likelihood is that the nominal GDP growth will be a challenge. So we're hoping that if RBI was to reduce the interest rates, in some ways, push for greater growth, and then if that has a mild impact on inflation and it comes to closer to 2 to 3% in that range, if it ends in that range, then hopefully the nominal GDP growth number should catch up.
Mr. Mukundan, what did you vote when I asked whether interest rates are likely to be cut or not? Do you expect the Reserve Bank and the MPC to deliver on another rate cut?
I took a safe one. I actually voted with the president.
Which way did the president vote on that? You were looking at him. So yes or no on a rate cut?
Yeah, we do believe, I think there'll be I think we are in an era of, I think, a continuous rate being eased, because I think the inflation trends are down, and the long-term trends on inflation are also pointing towards going to be, and with hopefully we are seeing the peak of the tensions, trade tensions. We are the peak in the sense that it may last 90 days or 100 days, but I think post that again, I think the trend will be easing it down. So all directions are in the same direction. Clearly, I think we are in a very good spot in many ways. If interest rates are going to be benign or coming down, and our many things which government has done, including if you look at what they've done in power sector, what they've done in the roads, the logistics, all the every aspect is now in place. So our own expectation is this is a time when we need to be positive. I think industry is a bit cautious because of all the tension around, but I think once that eases, you're going to see a massive push going forward. That's really the way
The question is, what is the timeline for that massive push going to be? But I'll come back to you in just a second on that issue. So industry expects rates to be cut, or at least hopes that the RBI will deliver with another rate cut. And the consensus in this room of a large number of India CEOs is that growth is likely to be between 6.8 to 7%. You know, I should have polled a question on gold as well, Mr. Muthoot. Let me come to you. Gold prices at record highs. I mean, you're talking about peaking as far as trade tensions are concerned. Any signs of peaking on gold prices?
Gold has been always lucky with Trump, and Trumpism is driving gold. And the uncertainty in the global economy is driving gold prices. I think now the new gold is silver, with silver going to be the next driver of investment for the common man, because gold now has become unaffordable.
Gold has become unaffordable. Yes, I would imagine consumers will agree with that. But do you expect the rally to continue?
I could say that 40% of the Indians have become wealthier now, with the gold prices moving up 40%.
That certainly is the case. But do you expect prices to continue to edge higher from here? And what's the expectation on silver?
Silver would be around 45 is what market outlook, and gold would be somewhere at 3,800 per ounce.
3,800 per ounce. So the rally is likely to continue. Mr. Trump has been good for gold prices. Roshni Nadar certainly not been good as far as the IT sector is concerned. So let me come to you now, because the issue that has captured headlines has been what's happened as far as the H-1B visa issue is concerned. While we have seen some sort of a pullback, there have been clarifications issued by the White House that it comes into effect only from the next lottery year, that is 2026. It doesn't apply to renewals. But now they're changing the lottery system. In itself is what the expectation is and what the proposal is. Roshni, to start with, the impact on Indian IT on account of H-1B, not just in the near term, but in the medium to long term.
So, Shireen, I actually think that, I'd mentioned this before as well, that we can't let this, never miss a good crisis. And if at all, if you've seen the trend of H-1B visa applications over, let's say, even the last decade, India's the largest proportion, but the number has been coming down.
Yeah.
And a lot of conversations today that you have with your clients, and we're all pretty heavily indexed on the US, is around AI adoption and AI-led deals. And there is a certain non-linearity in a lot of deal constructs in the way the entire sector is having to reimagine itself and restructure itself and reorganize itself. So, I mean, I think the pain is much more short-term and medium-term, but this is not just a problem for the industry. It is also a problem for customers, clients, and actually some of the most biggest companies which are hit by this are actually American companies.
Yes.
So one will have to navigate this. I think that it would probably drive those many more actual decisions on AI-led conversations and AI-led deals. And those are non-linear in nature anyways.
Yeah, you know, Roshni, you're right in pointing out that this is going to impact US big tech far more than it will impact Indian IT, because the proportion of H-1B visas has been higher on the US big tech side, and India has been seeing a decline over the last few years, in fact down over 30% in the last few years. But in the near term, as you said, in the near term there will be pain. Do you expect a repricing of contracts? Do you expect that between clients as well as IT companies there will be an absorption of the higher costs?
I'm not sure, Shireen. I think it's only been 2 days, and that was Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
And I think, and today is, of course, yesterday has already showed that there will be some difference in changes in, the way they're going to actually structure the new plan for H-1B and looking at highly skilled. Perhaps there will be, again, in the short term. But it could also drive more outsourcing, which then again goes back to a very different sort of pricing model.
But do you worry about the fact that now that the first salvo in a way has been signaled on services, because so far the battle has really been on the goods front, now with services getting into the fray on the outsourcing front as well, while there's a long way to go for the higher bill to become an act, to become legislation, that this really opens up a new front between India and the US as far as our trade relations are concerned?
Maybe, but I also think that it's impacting different companies very differently, and I think business mix makes a huge difference. At least for us, in the last 6 years, we've invested more than $3 billion in IP, and that itself is non-linear in nature, and we have a huge investment and business line in software. So I think that business models are changing, and we just have to adapt.
Let me take the H-1B conversation forward, because Shashwat Goenka, as part of the group, you also have First Source, and I know that you've been hiring locally in the US, so perhaps less vulnerable to the changes. But as a company and as an industry, how prepared is India to move to product and platform, and whether this is in fact going to be the opportunity that this crisis presents?
I think definitely. And earlier today we heard that an opportunity is only worth its weight in gold if you take that opportunity. And I think it's for us as Indians to take that opportunity. And I think for us as First Source specifically, we're not very impacted with H-1B, as you mentioned. But I think with this, there will be a rethink on the industry, and the push towards AI, which is what all of us have already been building towards, will probably translate to it much faster.
Move towards AI much faster. I'll come to Vivek Raghavan, the AI man on the table, in just a second. Sarvam AI, Vivek, I'll come to you in a second. But Satish Reddy, let's come to you. H-1B, this was the sword that was hanging, and now it's out there in the open. On pharma, we still don't know. President Trump keeps threatening that something's coming, but we still don't know when, and we still don't know what. How ready is the Indian pharma sector for the possibility of higher tariffs?
I mean, like you said, we don't know, right? So we still hope it won't be anything which is punishing, because, again, if you see the outcomes, Indian exports to the US in pharmaceuticals is largely generics, and that goes to the people. So when it comes to the payers, finally, it's mainly the government, and also it's the common people who will be hurt the most. Right, so we certainly hope it won't happen, but even if it were to happen, I think it has to be an issue of, who will be able to absorb the additional tariffs, which we assume will be low, right? So between the distribution
chain... When you say low, what is the expectation or the assumption that you're working with?
There's no assumption, but we just expect it to be low because of the reason that I said. It's going to have a deep impact in terms of, the cost to the governments as well as to people. So we hope it won't be high. But at that point of time, then the question comes, how much of will it be absorbed by the distribution chain and also by the company? That's something we have to watch out for. But all of us hope the best case prevails, which is no tariffs.
But yes, of course, that would be the best case. What's the expectation? And that's another question that I'm polling here. What is the expectation on the India-US BTA being done? Those of you who believe that we are going to see the India-US BTA conclude, the expectation, the hope, the assumption was that by fall this year. Those of you who believe that it will be done by fall this year, by November, which was the timeline estimated, do raise your hands. And those who believe that it will perhaps spill over into next year, raise your hands. So those who believe it will be done by this year, the India-US bilateral trade agreement, if you can raise your hands, please. Okay, a fair number. Those who believe that it's likely to slip into the next year, next financial year or next calendar year, well, there's more who believe that it'll probably get done this year. So that's certainly good news. Janmejay Sinha, you just did a presentation on why you believe that American exceptionalism is over, and you believe that this is going to be an opportunity for India. What's the best case? What do you believe India needs to deliver on to ensure that we leverage on this?
See, the basis of American exceptionalism was limitless risk-free capital, talent, and R&D. All of those become available. So India needs to, of the $27 trillion of risk-free capital floating around in the US, even if we target 100 billion, which is nothing, but 100 billion, even if we create 9 centers of advanced learning or whatever, with 1,000 crores each, then we can attract and get these H-1Bs and students to land. And if we, instead of having R&D at 0.56, move it to even 1% of GDP, then we are already on that way, in the sense that it is tragic that an opportunity of this magnitude, of this size, if we don't capture it, then we can sit here and in 10 years from now say, India misses opportunities. And to blame, it will not be the government.
Yeah.
It will be everyone sitting in this room. So everyone should look inside and say, I'm a loser. Fine, then India will be a loser.
So to borrow from John F. Kennedy, ask not what your government or your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Let's throw this open. What is the number one thing that India Inc. needs to do to leverage on the opportunity?
Get talent. Everyone in this room should be trying to hire 50 people from the US. And I don't think they've got the plan.
Does anybody here have the plan to bring back those who are dealing with the uncertainty of H-1B to India? Anyone here who wants to take up Janmejay Sinha's challenge? Shobna, go ahead.
I want to be proven wrong, Shobna. I want to be proven wrong.
No, I go with Roshni that says it's just been the weekend and this thing is still evolving. But I think it has been part of today's conversation that we look at it as an opportunity and we understand that there's enough talent. And many of these companies are looking for such talent as we transition into AI. We know that there'll be the best of healthcare. So for us, it's an opportunity. But the second opportunity I see for us is when it becomes tougher for the rest of the world to go to the US, India becomes a really good place. Like the Proton we have here in Tamil Nadu is the only one in Asia, and people can come from all over. So I think every one of us should introspect at this time to see how we can make this crisis work for us.
Roshni?
So, Shireen, just from our experience over the last 25 years of, at least investing in educational institutions for the country. But, I think it's time to also retrospect and question that why did that talent leave in the first place? And was it that they were just looking for better opportunities and jobs, but it was also the ecosystem? And if you have to create the ecosystem in the country, and at the risk of sounding repetitive, because I've said this before as well, innovation and R&D plays a huge role, and also the patent ecosystem. And it's absolutely critical that for a lot of this talent, which is unable to go now to the US or is considering coming back for all these reasons, and could be other reasons as well, to continue to invest in building institutions, continue to invest in building R&D and research, and across various fields, right? I mean, I was mentioning to the Foreign Secretary earlier that sovereign technology. Each country is looking at building its own sovereign technology, whether it's in semiconductor, whether it's going to be in AI, whether it's going to be in quantum. They're actually going to be extremely exciting areas for people to come back and work in and do research in. And then, of course, Tamil Nadu wants to take even leadership in space tech. So there are very interesting opportunities, but people want to harness also the investment.
Yeah.
And that's going to be absolutely critical.
So short question. Will we see a step up, for companies like HCL Tech on R&D spends, on innovation, on setting up perhaps these centers of excellence?
Absolutely. I mean, we've done it previously. We'll continue to do so. And, I think it's a great opportunity for everybody.
Vivek, let me come to you because there's a lot of conversation around AI and how AI could probably help tide over some of the challenges that we're currently faced with in the US. I mean, one of the reasons a lot of people attribute that the US has not gone into a recession is because of the AI-related investments running into hundreds of billions of dollars. At Sarvam AI, how do you see the current developments, and do you believe that we're now going to become this sort of land of talent that we will be able to optimize as we look at an AI era?
I mean, AI as a technology, I think, is going to impact everything. And I think that, and with all these big changes, I think it is potentially an opportunity if we play our cards right. But it is something that, when you're looking at some of these sunrise technologies, we have to invest significantly to actually make ourselves a major player there. And I think that we are starting down that journey. And I think, for example, the government through the India AI mission is actually made some moves. But I think still, if you look at it, I think we have much more to do for us to become a top-level player. I think both the US and China are far ahead of us in this field today. But I think this is the time to actually take this opportunity and invest so that we are a serious player in this space. And we have the scale, we have the talent, we have everything that needs to be to actually be a serious player in AI.
So give me the specific next steps. You said we have a long distance to go before we catch up with either the US or even China. The specific next steps that you believe are warranted, both on the part of the government as well as on the part of industry.
See, I think if you look at, I think AI is an interesting technology in that it is actually very expensive when your scale is small, but it becomes cheap when the scale is large. And so therefore you have to actually create these kinds of things where the scale becomes large and the use of AI is actually happening within the country, right? For example, we have we talk about that India has one of the largest users of ChatGPT, but actually that inferencing is not happening here. And the reason they are actually able to achieve scale, and I mean they still lose significant amount of money doing this, but I think the reason they're able to do that is because they have scale, and everybody is playing the game of scale. And India is obviously one of the big scale countries, and that's really what we need to be able to do is we need to double down on this technology, and scale is something which is very important.
We saw the IT minister nudge people to say that, look, I'm moving to Zoho Work Suite now. Do you believe that a nudge is the need of the hour, or do you think more than that is the need of the hour for the government to say that, look, do Indian platforms? Is that the way forward?
No, I think that is very important. I think that's a great thing that a nudge is important, but a nudge alone is not important. Is not
enough.
Not enough. Yeah, I mean, I think, but I think the people understand that we need, if this is a sunrise technology and we want to be a serious player here, then I think the investment needs to be, and we've made a great start, but I think it needs to be an order of magnitude or more than what it is today.
Okay, Amit, let me come to you on the manufacturing side. What's now on the wish list in light of all the measures that have already been undertaken? And give me a sense of confidence at this point in time, at Zetwork, you're of course dealing with, the global challenges, the global headwinds as well, but what's the confidence, what's the mood like?
I think as people mentioned, in every crisis there is opportunity, and in fact, at least what we are seeing is the AI supply chain itself is a big opportunity set. For us, in the last year, maybe close to 5% of our revenue comes indirectly or directly from the AI supply chain, whether it's selling transformers or power equipment to data centers, to developers in the US. And at least what we have seen is that market is little, I don't know, price insensitive or different economics. Like today it takes 18 to 24 months to get a transformer built, and if you can shave that time by half, people are willing to buy. And so at least what we have seen is most of the tariffs we have been able to pass along. And yeah, if we can make that 5% into 10% or 15% of our revenue, that's where I would want to spend time versus spending
What
time.
will take that from 5 to 10?
I think it'll happen on its own. It's the pace of investment. I mean, just yesterday we saw NVIDIA investing 100 billion into OpenAI. These are just orders of magnitude. These are numbers actually hard to fathom. Like 1 gigawatt becoming 10 gigawatt, becoming 100, becoming a trillion gigawatt of compute. I think these are things which have never been done before and have never happened. And so yeah, I mean, there is crisis, but there's opportunities.
But, you know, Vivek, and I want to quickly come back to you on that. When you hear of these numbers, you know, 100 billion of Oracle investing in NVIDIA, NVIDIA investing in OpenAI, OpenAI investing back. I mean, you know, how do you react and respond when you hear the quantum of these numbers?
I think it comes back to the same thing. I think people understand that this is a generational technology. And I think that they want to make sure that they are players in this technology. And the number one thing to actually this is scale, right? And I think that's why I don't know where these things will fall out eventually, but I think that people realize that these technologies become much cheaper when you achieve scale. And that's really what people are attempting to do there. And you know, we in our country, we have scale in a different way, and we've got to leverage that and make sure that when we are using a large scale, we actually use things that you know, where things are happening in India, and then actually, we'll get the same benefits of scale.
Okay, scale. Malika Srinivasan, I'm going to hop across to you. You know, since we're talking about what next now, the government is using this opportunity to unleash the next wave of reforms. We saw that happen as far as the GST is concerned. What would you put on the table as what you believe should be the next steps in that endeavor?
So I think we've seen, I'll set that against a specific context. We've seen investment in public investment grow. We've seen the public sector invest, government invest, public investments grown much faster than private investment. And that makes you think what should be done. Why is private sector not investing the way it should invest? And if you look at that, then I think it comes down to really, firstly, the ease of doing business, entry, compliance, regulations, exit, that whole space, the ease of doing business. Second, I think it reflects on cost of infrastructure. Infrastructure, our infrastructure cost, we've had Gati Shakti, we've had a whole host of developments and progress, but still we have some way to go with respect to infrastructure. And a third, maybe these are the two biggest points that I'd like to stress.
Okay, so let me then use this opportunity to again do a dipstick poll here. You know, on the back of the measures already undertaken, is there confidence in industry to start the capex cycle? Are you going to be investing in adding fresh capacity, in setting up new capacity in the next 12 months? Those of you who intend to spend money in adding capacity, if you could raise your hands in the next 12 months. Okay, so quite a few. Let me hop across to Sunita Reddy. Sunita, of course, you've got a big expansion plan as far as Apollo hospitals are concerned, but that's a sector that is, of course, poised for growth. So you feel confident of being able to spend over the next 12 to 18 months?
I'm very confident because I believe the structural demand is there, intact in the market. And with the reforms that we just heard, the budget with the lowering of taxation combined with the GST, I think there's more money in the hands of the consumer. So with the GST lowered on insurance, I'm sure access is also ensured. So yes, I think for the healthcare sector, it's been.
So what is the quantum that we can expect you to spend in the next 12 months?
12 months. I think you should look at it 36 months for long
Okay,
term.
okay, 36 months.
6,000 crores.
6,000 crores in the next 36 months for the Apollo Hospitals Group. Madhav, let me come to you. We've seen that big cut coming in as far as cement prices are concerned on the back of the GST cut from 28 down to 18. What's the sense that you're getting on in terms of demand visibility? And, are we likely to see, we've seen significant consolidation in industry, are we likely to see capacity addition as well?
So, firstly, Shireen, I feel it's one of the boldest reforms that we have seen, GST 2.2, especially bringing GST in cement down from 28 to 18. It was unfortunate, it was a part of the sin goods, but I'm glad that one of the basic building materials of the nation is becoming more affordable. On the demand side, we definitely will see probably some more. It's too early to say, but demand has been good over the last couple of days since this thing has happened. And on the consolidation side, I feel consolidation, I would say, is good for any sector, provided you don't get consolidated yourself. So my limited point there is that as an industry, we are adding about 30 to 40 million tons every year, which is about 35 to 40,000 crores of capex. And as JK Cement, so are we investing in capex.
Okay, so what would your capex number be for the next 12, 36 months? You can decide which number you want to go with.
It's about 4,500 crores for over the next 24 months.
Okay, 4,500 crores over the next 24 months. Deepak Shetty, let me come to you. The JCB has taken on a whole new meaning in this country, but nevertheless, let me ask you, sir, what is the plan as far as the capital goods sector is concerned? Infrastructure front loading, we've seen that across both the central government as well as states. What are you picking up in terms of demand?
The demand comes from two sectors. One, the central government projects, particularly driven by NHAI, but a big role is played also by the state government. So we have seen some great progress on the central government side, new projects being announced last few days by the Honorable Roads and Transport Minister. Where we are struggling a bit are the investments by the state government.
Okay.
And that is something which I'm sure with the improvement thanks to GST2, more collections, etc., particularly the rejuvenation of the rural economy, that will start improving. So that is something that we are hoping for from the construction equipment.
So is it a capital issue or is it an approval issue at the state level?
I think it's multiple. First of all is ability to invest because of, sometimes the priorities change. There are different priorities that state governments deal with. And also the whole approval cycle, which certainly needs to be improved. But at a national level, particularly NHI and other projects, I think the progress is good. But we expect that coming year, and we recently had interaction with the minister where he also spoke about further investing on infrastructure, particularly the road projects. Okay. That should be very positive.
So, in light of what you're seeing at this point in time, CapEx plans for you?
Yeah, absolutely. At JCB, we have continued to invest. Even during COVID times, we built a new factory. And we are not only looking at the business in India, we are exporting to 135 countries, so we are looking at the global market. And we'll continue to invest as we are doing both, not only in capacity, capability, but also in R&D.
But do you feel the need to add capacity at this point?
Probably in the next 36 months' time, not immediately.